This episode was brought to you by Stall Communications. Guys, the company that I work for personally uses these guys, and I can tell you that they are stress-free. Their even tagline is called IT Done Right. They offer IT management specifically with phone systems and all of that stuff. Call Cameron today and he can take care of you. Look, business owners, quit being stressed out about IT stuff and just give them a call today.
Era Sports, we're at the game.
Welcome back to the Era Sports Podcast, where for the next couple of weeks, we're going to highlight players and coaching staff from both girls and boys basketball programs in Southern Indiana just to kick off the season, because when the weather starts turning, you know basketball is right around the corner. Today, I am joined by Coach Jones. How are you, Coach?
Doing well, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Welcome to the podcast. This is year 2. How you feeling?
Yeah, year 2, you feel a little bit more comfortable anyways, but there's, I think we still have a lot of question marks, but I thought we had a good summer, and we'll figure it out as we move along here.
So tell me a little bit about where you're from, because the hiring, I didn't get to meet you a lot until recently. Where are you from? Where's your family moving from?
So I've been all over the place. My dad actually grew up in Southern Indiana in Washington. He was a Hatchet and played there.
House.
Yeah,
Yep.
And then him and my mom ended up living in Colorado and teaching and coaching out there. So that's where I grew up.
Okay.
And then I went and played small college basketball in Kansas and met my wife there. So spent a lot of time in Kansas, spent a little time in Florida and Georgia. Went back to Colorado for a short stint as well. So kind of bounced around all over the place.
So we'll start right off with a big question. It sounds like you've seen maybe Southern Indiana basketball a little bit before, but what's it like? Because everybody talks about how important it is, but seeing other states, how big of a deal is Indiana basketball?
Yeah, I mean, you have a perception coming in, but it's definitely exceeded the expectation in that regard. It's, it's just so important to so many people. Communities just rally around their high schools, and it's been fun to be a part of. And I watched it from the outside growing up, but being a part of it's been completely different.
Even just being at the Jeff New Albany game last year, like an elder man holding a sign about a high school player. It's just like, that's how important it is to these people. And that gym was packed. That felt the most Romeo-esque era for a while. That game. Were you at that game, Pat?
Yeah.
Did you watch it?
Yeah, I was there.
I got to sit up in the catwalk, and I was just like, it was fun, man.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, great atmosphere. I'm always amazed when I meet our season ticket holders and people that haven't missed games since 1970.
And if you sit in their seat, you will know.
Watch out.
Yeah, you will know about it.
We try to warn the visitors about that. Don't sit in anybody's seat.
So speaking of last year, just want to start off with just what returning players, what key players do you have? Who are you excited about? You got a mix of underclassmen and upperclassmen, so let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think, we have a couple of unknowns at this point in time with some of our returners, but it has to start with Rylan Shrink and Jordan Treat right now. There are two mainstays that have showed up to everything all summer. Both had good summers for us. Rylan had a nice Charlie Hughes, and he started getting some calls from some people. And so they'll kind of, they don't have to carry us, but their leadership and kind of how they go about their business will be huge for us this season. And you move into our junior class, and you have 3 guys who all saw time for us last year in T.J. Washington, Braden Brewer, and Braxton Mayfield. And, your hope with those guys, obviously T.J. was an all-league performer last year, but you're hoping that those sophomores take a big jump for you. And it'll be interesting to see with Braxton and Braden. They're both baseball first guys, but, they're just tremendously coachable, hardworking kids, and I think they'll both have really nice years for us. And then our sophomore group, it was kind of this summer we kind of went into it and said, let's try a bunch of different guys out, combinations. And Reese McKee and Seth Winslow kind of rose to the top there and kind of proved they belonged with the varsity and had a really nice summer for us. And then obviously you got Noah coming in, who, he's got
Wait, who? Who's
that?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
You might have heard of him a little bit. But, he's still going to be a freshman. But he had I think all parties concerned, he fit in with us about as well as we could have anticipated this summer, from how the older guys accepted him to how he played. And, again, he had a monster Charlie Hughes as well. And
I think Charlie Hughes, that was the big part, because I think everybody was kind of he's an 8th grader, who is this? And then
everybody down here kind of knew, but then when you take it up to Carmel and Fishers and that area, and they see him drop 20 plus, then their eyes.
Yeah, and against high-quality opponents as well.
Yeah, for sure.
North Central is going to be really good, and they had some really good guards, and I think he had 24 in the second half of that game. And kind of prove that he can, when he gets it going, he can play with anybody.
And that's one thing too about a guy that you probably said his name and people would say who because of the past years. But I played an open gym with Seth the other day. Super impressed. He's very smooth. I saw him. He's getting thicker. He's a little tall. I'm really hoping he has a great year for you guys. But
yeah, I mean, he's, you know, Seth's he just is sneaky. He just makes plays, and it's like all of a sudden you're looking around and he's got 10 and 8, and it's like, where did he come from? But
he'll dive on the floor. He's not afraid.
Plays so hard and rebounds above his height. You know, he can just do a lot of really good things. And Reese is the same way. He's 5'9", 5'8", but he'll get in there and battle with the trees and get on the floor and play really hard for you.
And it's no secret that Ryland's one of my favorite players in the whole area. I really like him. He played. He was actually on a middle school team with my little brother, so I've seen him play a lot. I've seen him play. Now they're AAU teammates. He, in my opinion, is the most underrated player in the area. Doesn't get as much respect as he deserves, but I'm really excited to watch him. Even in those big games, he steps up every single time, and I really like him. But Patrick, 4A ball is right up your alley. So what are you looking forward to from New Albany this year?
Well, I mean, let's just start out with the elephant in the room, and that's the Jeffersonville New Albany game. I mean, everybody down here is kind of expecting a Jeffersonville party. How are you going to crash it?
You know, that's a great question. I mean, they had a monster summer, you know, really went in and showed what they're capable of. And, you know, all three of their guys are getting a Division I interest and high major interest. Anytime you got 3 Division I guys on one team, you know, you're going to be formidable. But I think, you know, we shoot the ball well enough and we can spread them out enough and hopefully not make it a grind it out where they can just pound it in on us all night. Use our speed and athleticism. You know, the game last year at home, you know, we took a 1-point lead with 3:30 to go in the game and had our chance to, you know, I think Ryland takes a 3 in the next possession that rattles out. If that goes down, we're up 4 with, you know, under 3 to go. We probably find a way to win that. And sectional, they played extremely well. We didn't play great, but, you know, rivalry games, I think you toss records out the window. You toss personnel out the window. It doesn't matter. Yeah, let's just toss it up and see what happens.
Because I know the New Albany fans, some of them I've talked to, they've said, yeah, we like our position. We're good to go. They don't care how good someone is supposed to be. We're New Albany. We're ready to play anybody.
And that's you have to go with that mentality that you belong and you expect to win every time you step out there. Absolutely.
And it's so early, but it seems like how you're talking at a 4A level. How many players do you plan on playing? Or as a rotation? It sounds like you have quite a few that could be up for that.
Yeah.
We do. I mean, again, we have a couple wild cards with a couple seniors.
It's a good problem to have.
It is. But ideally, I think we're 10 deep. I think worst case scenario, we're 8 pretty solid.
And that's huge, too, with the loss that Jeffersonville had with Fresh going to Charlestown. Of course, with the 3 they have, adding anybody into the mix. But losing Fresh was a big deal for them. So if you can be healthy and have depth in March, that's a big deal. Kind of a question for you that we've asked a lot of the coaches is, how do you attack the season with, when do you start talking about March? When do you start talking about, like, hey, you know, we could draw Jeff round 1? Do you talk about Jeff all year? Or when do you start talking to your players about that?
I don't think we talk about it specifically, but we make it very clear that everything is in preparation for March.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be at our best in early January, or there's just room for growth, room for improvement. But you try to impress upon the players that everything we're doing is to put us in a position to win in March. Yep. And just building toward that. And hopefully you put your best foot forward in the sectional. And obviously with the random draw, you never know. This is the first state I've been in that has a random draw. Everywhere else I've been has been record.
Okay.
You know, your regular season is going to dictate who you play.
Which makes a lot of sense, but for some reason.
Yeah. So,
Patrick, what do you think about that? You think that's how we should do it?
It works. Why change it? I mean, I see the benefit to it, but, you know, no, I'm good with what we got.
I disagree. I hate it.
Well, I don't really care.
Well, it's like if you draw a Jeff New Albany on Tuesday night and then your winners.
Then you better go see the Jeff New Albany game on Tuesday night.
But I mean, then you play. Well, I don't want to say any other team stuff, but
right.
Then the finals game is just sad. But whatever. Year 1, you come into this program, you're probably just like, let's let's win games, but don't shake it up anymore. What we're asking the coaching staff, or what we're asking the coaches, is your coaching staff's the most underappreciated people. They're super important to the program, but they probably don't get the recognition they deserve. What's your staff look like? Who's your guys this year?
Yeah, so obviously Ryan Wheeler and Brandon Roberson have been there for a long time. They were with Coach Shannon for a long time, and we kept them last year. Isaiah Carter coached our freshman last year, and he's looked for some other opportunities, and I'm real excited about the additions to our staff. We brought back Martin Luther, who was a long-time New Albany guy.
There we go.
Yeah, so he'll be our JV coach and just brings a ton of wisdom and experience to the staff. Dustin Cooper was a New Wash assistant for about 7 years, and he's been consulting for Fast Model for about the last 2 or 3. So he just X's and O's knowledge is off the charts. And then we just hired Nick Walker from Henryville to be our freshman coach, who obviously around here everybody knows what type of player he was, but I think he's going to be a great fit for our program as well.
That's great. And who is the assistant coach for you?
So Roby and Wheeler will be my assistants.
Okay.
Martin will take the JV. Dustin will just kind of be there for everybody, and then Nick will take the freshman.
Awesome. Patrick, you got any questions?
Yeah, what's the schedule looking like this year? What are you working towards?
Yeah, we've beefed it up a little bit. We have Lawrence North coming to the doghouse early.
Okay.
There we go. Patrick will be at that one.
Yeah, I think it's game 2 or 3, and obviously they're loaded. Their guys got offers from everybody.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to go kind of, for me, I guess, my dad's old stomping grounds. We're going to play in the Hatchet House over Christmas. We're going to play Decatur Central in a holiday shootout there. They're doing a back-to-back, girls on the 27th, boys on the 28th.
I think Floyd's there. Heritage Hills might be there.
I don't know who all's there. I just know there's like 5 games in a row. I don't remember who else is there.
Yeah.
And then Jeff's putting on their shootout where I think it's 6 Indiana and 6 Kentucky, and we'll play Frederick Douglass out of Lexington in that.
Okay.
So kind of shake it up a little bit, get some new opponents. I mean, Frederick Douglass won 21 games last year. Lawrence North will obviously be really, really good. And then the league's going to be tough. I mean, Jeff obviously, and Seymour returns a nice core of their group. Jennings County still has Carter Kent, and that guy can fill it up. And Fonzo's doing a nice job at Floyd. There's just not going to be any easy nights.
Don't forget Bedford. You still got Bedford too.
Bedford's going to be really good. They still got the guy that torched us last year for 39, Patrick Mason. I mean, he went crazy on us last year. I've seen him a couple times this summer, and he looks good.
Speaking of underrated, that kid needs
Absolutely.
some eyes on him.
Yeah,
but
he can really play. He's got nice size, shoots it. He does a lot of things well.
yeah, I got Chris and Ryland are playing for him this weekend at an AU tournament in Louisville, and then Patrick will be on that team too. So it'll be interesting to see.
Nice.
Sam Higgins is on that team. So a little foray Hoosier Hills
subtle
Conference.
brag there, who he's got on his team.
That would be a nice group.
No,
there.
I'll brag on the other team. No. I didn't get to mention this though. I am repping the only coach that I've repped for is New Albany. This is the nicest sweatshirt anybody's ever given me. The athletic department was nice enough to do that for me. So
Jeffersonville don't let him in this year, right?
I mean, hey, if Sharon wants to give me some merch, I'm a merch guy, so give me some merch.
All right.
Talk a little bit about in this area last year, like I've said 3 or 4 times, it was your first year. We've asked all the coaches, what are 3 or 4 players that you are excited to watch? Because if by now you're not watching this episode, 2025 is loaded at every level. 26 is loaded with talent, and we're really spoiled for the next couple of years. So there's 3 or 4 players from any level that you're just excited to watch this year.
I mean, obviously, 3 guys at Jeff are, they're just really, really good. They're fun to watch. I think as you go down, the Dager kid from Silver Creek he put 28 or 29 on us last year. I was very impressed with him. The Reed kid from Floyd has had some really nice games. It's going to be interesting to see how he kind of grows. Those are kind of, Carter Kent, I think, too, he's just a different kind of player. I don't remember what he had on us there last year, 32 or 33, and he can just score the ball in a variety of ways. And, I think all 3 of those guys should take another step forward. And then obviously the guys from Jeff are kind of on another level in terms of their production and what they've done this summer. So,
well, you're allowed to say Scribner 8th grade games as well, too, Coach.
Yeah, well, Carson will be a fun watch.
Mm-hmm.
I think we played him up with the JV all summer.
Yep.
And, it'll be interesting to see. It's probably going to be a tough adjustment back for him to play against high school competition all summer and then go back to playing 8th graders. But he had a great summer for us, and then obviously his AU team went down there and won it all in Orlando. So, yeah, he had a great summer.
What are you looking forward to most with just going on the road with these guys? What's the chemistry like with the players this year? Like I said, it's not new news that there was coaching changes and administration changes, but I feel like watching you guys this year, it was like they're really steady team. So what's that like?
Yeah, I think that's always for me. How do you transition from year one to year two? Year one, it doesn't matter where you take over, what the talent level is. There's always going to be some ups and downs. People are, guys are trying to learn you. You're trying to learn them. And I was very pleased with how the summer went in terms of our chemistry. And it really seemed like our core group of guys really enjoyed each other. They want to be around each other. And then I think that goes a long ways in a long, grueling basketball season because it's a long season. And when you got guys that don't get along, it makes it even longer. So I'm excited about our group and how they gelled this summer, and I think it'll be a lot of fun to be around them.
And then I'll let you ask that in a second, Patrick, but if you've watched your team at all, you guys play really fast. You like to get up and down. Is that kind of like your coaching philosophy, or did you switch that for this team that you have?
Probably the last 10 years I've had teams very similar to that, so that's kind of how we've played. But I'm a believer that what you do is kind of dictated by your personnel. You can't go play fast with a bunch of slow guys, and you can't pound it in when everybody's 5'9". So obviously our personnel is better suited to play that way. I personally prefer to play that way, where you get up and down, you shoot a lot of threes, you spread the floor out.
Fans like it too.
Yeah, it's it's the way basketball's been going for the professional level on down for the last 6, 8, 10 years. And I think kids want to play that way too. It's a fun style of play. You're not putting the handcuffs on them too much. And so it's been good for this group for sure.
Yeah. What you got, Patrick? I'm sorry to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say, looking forward to the next few years. How do you feel like these freshmen, sophomores, and even eighth graders, how do you put into words what the future looks like at New Albany? The New Albany Bulldog.
Yeah, it's very bright. There's no doubt about that.
Because I tell people, even this year, even people up north and around Indy area, hey, New Albany's coming. They're borderline top 10 this year, but they're coming quick. Watch out for them.
Yeah, I think the most exciting part for me is there's just not a lot of gaps there.
Mm-hmm.
You have solid pieces at almost every position.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not going to have anybody 6'8" probably anytime in the near future, but we've got a little more size.
Okay.
Our guard play at all four of those levels, even back into the 5th and 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I think 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th lost one game combined last year. And I think everybody we have coming fits my style very well.
Yeah.
Spread it, play fast, share the ball. And, anytime you get guys like Noah and Carson, and then they're on the rise, those two guys have kind of, over the course of the last few years, have shown what they're capable of doing. And then the complementary pieces around them are really, really good as well. And so it's very exciting for us as we look forward to how are we going to piece all these guys together. And there should be some fun times ahead for sure.
Well, there's buzz and excitement when I remember telling my wife on a Tuesday night, she kind of knows what we do, varsity basketball. So like,
yeah,
where are you going? Oh, I'm going out to Madison for a middle school basketball game to film with the camera. And she's like, middle school? I'm like, yeah, you'll understand later. But
yeah.
When the sports media companies are going out to a Tuesday night in the middle of nowhere to watch, Carson and Noah play, it's kind of a big deal.
I was going to say, you can find out pretty quick in warm-ups that you made a good decision.
Yeah, and I look up at Stands SCU, so I knew I was in the right place.
True that.
Well, that 8th grade to-be freshman group with Noah, Owen, Kyron, Braden, and Corbin, all four are, really solid players. And I think 2 years from now, Braden Dennison might be one of those guys where everybody's like, where did this guy come from? Yeah. He's putting his elbows on the rim already now, and so
we got our freshman showcase coming up, and all three of those guys signed up. So we're super excited to watch them play. And then I shot it for their youth conference at Northside recently. A lot of those guys go there too, and I was talking to them. They're really excited for the season.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit too about the your school life. The Bulldogs. So what are you a teacher at New Albany or? Yeah,
I teach kind of a combination of PE and weights classes. I think this year I have 3 weights, 2 PE or something like that. So me and Coach Cooley, the football coach, our track coach, we're kind of the 3 guys that kind of run the PE department. And so I think Coach Redford has a couple classes in there, our baseball coach. So it's a good group of guys to work with. And it's fun to go to work every day for sure.
Now you guys got a new AD over there. Is that correct? Because, Don Unruh, he's kind of he's been the
OG.
New Albany Bulldog OG for a while.
Yeah, I mean, him stepping back in last year to taking on an interim for me, you know, I think being my first year, I couldn't have asked for a better situation than that. I mean, he was unbelievable. Obviously, he's been around here for years. He kind of knows the ins and outs, and he's super supportive. You know, Sean Garman, I think, is going to be a great fit for us. Okay. You know, New Albany through and through, alumni. Just has a huge heart. He wants everybody to New Albany to be successful. And, you know, just in the first couple months on the job, he's definitely doing everything in his power to put us in a good position to be successful.
Good deal.
So we've asked the other coaches this. What, in all of Indiana, you know, Central all over the top, we're doing this podcast for people to understand how good Southern Indiana basketball is. When people think of the Bulldogs this year, what should they think of? What are things that are going to be super important to the culture?
Yeah, I think first and foremost is just how hard we play. You know, I think that for us, we're going to be undersized almost every time out there, and we just have to play hard. Otherwise, we're going to, you know, our flaws will get exposed pretty quick, I think. I think the other thing is we have to share the ball, and we did a nice job of that this summer. You know, obviously we have guys, Noah and Rylan, Jordan, TJ, you know, they've all shown they're capable of going for 25, but we don't have to rely on one of them to get 25 every night. And I think that's where our strength lies is, you know, tonight Rylan might get 27, and tomorrow it might be TJ and then Noah and then Jordan. We kind of can spread it around. And at least last year we were able to survive a bad game by one of those guys because somebody else would pick up the slack. So I think we'll be very similar this year.
Yeah, I think that's what makes you guys hard to guard too, because any night, you know, could be turned up. But we skipped past it a little bit. We'll go back because it's the most recent on the mind. But June, I got to see you guys play, I think, Christian Academy, and then don't know, Mayo maybe, or you played somebody right after or before. So I got to see you guys twice.
It was Ballard maybe.
Okay,
I think.
Yeah, I got to see you guys there, and then I got to see you guys play twice at Charlie Hughes. So unbelievable, fast paced, really fun to watch. But what were some key takeaways from June for you? What really good competition you played?
Yeah, it was interesting. You know, I think the best part for us is we saw about every style imaginable. You know, Christian Academy, you know, obviously Josh he's the guy. And so you had to guard one guy really, really well. And then the Louisville teams, sometimes it was you're not really sure what you're going to get. I mean, they might press you. They might pass it one time and fire up a shot. I mean, there was a lot of different styles of play there. And then you go up and play some of the Indy teams who were just really, really good. I mean, Avon was I mean, they just had dudes all over the floor. They had 6'7", 6'7", 6'7". I mean, we're down 2 at half of that game. They ended up getting us by like 16 or 18. But we had to play almost every style. And I think the best thing for us is we had to play against size, and we're going to have to be able to play against size to be successful in March.
Yeah,
Coach, some of my Indy buddies, they kind of got after me and said, "Well, New Albany's kind of like your adopted summer team because you've seen so many games." So I remember watching. I was at the Avon game, the North Central game, and some of these Kentuckiana League games, and I don't know, just seeing the young guys, seeing the new guys, it's just a fun team to watch, man. It's just you know, it's not one of those first team to 40.
Yeah, I hope we never play like that because it's hard. I think, you know, there's obviously a lot of teams that have some success playing that way, but your margin for error is pretty small when you're playing first to 40. Or I like to play first to 70, and then you have a lot more room for error.
Or
in
80.
that.
Yeah, or 80.
So, you know, I think we ended up. I looked the other day because I was putting together some stuff. We averaged right at 69.8 last year, so I think we were number 8 in the state in scoring. We averaged right at 70. You know, I think we have a chance to be even a little better than that this year in terms of scoring.
I wouldn't be mad if the Jeff New Albany game's like 108 to 110.
Throw in a couple overtimes.
Yeah, we're good there.
That plays
if
to
you
our
can work that out.
favor. That definitely helps us. If it's in the 50s against them, I think we're in trouble. So.
Well, Coach, thanks for being out here in the podcast. We look forward to shooting you guys this year, doing everything we can to get your guys seen in the state. Bulldogs, you're always a supporting cast there, so make sure you go out and see the team this year. I feel like there is going to be some fun times in the next couple of years as far as ticket sales go and getting people back in the doghouse. So,
do they ever really leave the doghouse?
They don't. They don't.
We're pretty lucky. Lucky.
So appreciate you guys. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and follow Era on all the platforms to keep up with this season. And check us out next time, and we'll see you next time.
Era Sports. We're at the game.